Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So today we have a lot of VTuber related news and drama to cover that features multiple large agencies, and we're going to start off with who else but Niji Sanji as they find themselves in another round of controversy. Now we're going to begin here, which seems somewhat unrelated, but it will come full circle. We have Mint Maid here on Twitter, formerly Pamu from Niji Sanji EN, celebrating the fact that she received her silver play button from YouTube, and that's of course something that is rewarded if you receive 100,000 subscribers. Now she's celebrating this, and why is it such a big deal beyond just the accomplishment? Well, silver play buttons are a very sore subject when it comes to Niji Sanji. Over the years, we've had many talents claim that they did not receive their silver play button despite hitting the mark of 100,000 subscribers. We've seen people like Sayu come out and just straight up say they weren't allowed to have it. We've seen some current and former talents make similar claims. And also, if you want further proof, every single picture from every single Niji Sanji liver celebrating receiving their 100K subscriber plaque, it's always taken on the same white desk, which confirms the conspiracy a lot of people have that these are basically just kept in the corporate office for Niji Sanji's management to enjoy. Basically a very fancy paperweight for them in the office. Now, we're going to have some more drama involving these play buttons because Michi Mochi Evie recently made her debut for vshojo. And of course, a lot of people also know that she is formerly Micah from Niji Sanji as well. And in her debut, she would make some comments. One of the first things she would make a comment about involving being an indie is the fact that she can now receive a silver play button. This is something that was clipped by a lot of people and got the conversation about this subject going once again.
I also want to get a silver play button. I don't know if I can say that on Twitch, but I'm very new to the platform. Yeah, if you don't know what it is, there's a thing on YouTube if you get like 100K. I've always wanted one. I always thought it's super cool. I saw like a lot of the streamers I watch, they have it on their background and it looks so cool. I want to have one so then I can like put it on top of my fridge. This is the only thing I've been thinking about.
So this is another example of a ex-Niji Sanji liver claiming that they had, at the very least, a very difficult time trying to get their silver play button that they earned through their own achievements on their YouTube channel. And this is not just something that shows that Niji Sanji management is doing some bad practices and treating people unfairly within their organization. It's also a direct contradiction to claims recently made by another Niji Sanji EN liver. So you can see right here this Dexerto article, which of course Dexerto has multiple Niji Sanji simps in their ranks, so the fact that they're trying to defend Niji Sanji EN here is not very surprising. But here's their article claiming that someone in Niji Sanji EN is defending their play button policy over at that agency, and that EN liver is of course Claude, who in a recent stream went off and seemed quite bothered by the suggestion that Niji Sanji livers are unable to receive their silver play buttons.
And now it's gonna stay at the office next to all the other really cool buttons. Which, by the way, I think, okay, there's some people who are sitting here. I guess this is gonna be something to touch on just a little bit, but I talked about this in like the membership post too. Spoilers, by the way, I guess. You know, I guess here's the thing. I know there are some people who are being like, "Oh my God, how come the livers can't have their own button? How come they can't take it home?" And it's like, all right, dog. You know what? If we really wanted one, we could just fucking ask. But whatever, man. You know, I think the bigger thing for me is that it's really fucking cool the fact that I even have a button to begin with. You know what I mean? If I can even have a button, man, that shit's already cool enough. Second of all, I think it's all the more important the fact that, like, damn, I can have that shit next to the other cool people who also have the really cool button. And I was like, damn, I want that. You know what I mean?
So as you could see, he was quite defensive in that clip when asked about this subject. But now we're left with a scenario where there's two different stories about the same subject. We have a lot of ex-livers who are continually saying that they did not receive their silver play button while they're at Niji Sanji, and then you have the sole person on the other side, and that is Claude, who's currently at Niji Sanji, claiming the opposite, that they could have gotten the play button if they just effing asked for it. Well, based on the fact that Claude, and I don't say this as an insulting way, I just say this because it's a realistic observation, he is someone who is lower on the totem pole at Niji Sanji EN. He is not Vox Akuma, who's very large in their agency and pretty much gets away with anything he wants. He has a vested interest to try to probably impress management by defending them. So looking at his side and his interests versus all of the stories of these ex-livers, I think we all know who's probably going to be more believable to outside observers. But moving on from Niji Sanji, we go to Hololive now. So whenever there's controversy involving Niji Sanji, it's often self-created, where their own livers are causing the controversy. And typically when we're dealing with controversy involving Hololive, it's often weirdos on Twitter lashing out at the talents and trying to slander them. And that's something that we're going to cover once again today, involving Mori Calliope, because she is being canceled on Twitter for probably the 1,000th time at this point. People routinely try to cancel her, and honestly, her haters are insufferable. They are very boring and very insufferable, but they make for good content to farm. So what happened this time? Well, there is a short clip going around on Twitter right now, and people are using it as fuel to attack Mori. In this shortened clip, she says that she likes Shota, and then immediately afterwards says that she's kidding, but that was enough for the people on Twitter to make their decisions and start to slander her.
No, lolly.
焦りすぎ
No, I like Shota.
あ
Now, like I hinted at earlier, that is a shortened clip. That's only about 9 seconds. The fuller context is around 50 seconds. And that was a clip that I covered in a video about 2 years ago because people were trying to cancel her for that same clip over 2 years ago and, of course, failed. But people were jumping the gun. We'll see the full context of that clip in a second. But people were jumping the gun and calling her all sorts of slanderous things. You can see this quote retweet saying, oh, that's Mori Calliope just flat out admitting to being a pedophile for no reason, under no pressure, for no reward. She just did it because she wanted to. You know, another user trying to water down that term to something that it's not. And here's another user saying another Epstein disciple has been found. Anyone who uses this language right here is terminally online and beyond saving. But also, this user has a profile picture and a name based on Kill la Kill. So you might want to sit out this conversation, buddy. I don't know. But here's another one saying Mori is a nonce. Pass it on. Interesting. I'll give you a lesson too. Your likes are public. Pass it on. Here's an underage character being sexualized in your likes. That would make you what by your own standard? And then here's another one saying the other Holo members in the room acting like they're weirded out. Based on that short clip, maybe that would be a little more of a fair assumption, but if you see the full context that was intentionally taken out, you'll see that the other people in the room, including lolly VTubers and some lolicons like Gargura, they would be playing along with this thing and were clearly having fun and were not weirded out in any sort of a way.
やっぱ先生だから
yes,
teacher.
I like small. I like small. I like
Lolicon?
see. No!
Oh.
No!
危ない。
No!
危ない
I no, I'm no.
危ない
先生危ない。
先生
I
危ない
no, I don't like I don't no, not that. No, no lolly.
焦りすぎ
No, I like Shota.
あ
Me too, me too.
Oh, you too. Oh, you too. Oh, not joke. Wait, no. I like small people. Small people.
You're an adult. Yes.
No, I like small people.
Yeah,
I
like to, yes,
understand
Yeah. You understand? Yeah. Short is
best.
justice. Short is justice. Short is happiness.
And much like the bot responses we've already covered, I mean, I think this kind of sums up the predictable and unoriginal responses you see whenever someone is trying to attack Mori Calliope. This is just 2 random quotes in a row saying the exact same thing word for word. 9/11 for white people. You can see none of these people are actually original, and a lot of them are just mad about Mori's success. And as she is really blown up way beyond just her successful career at Hololive, she has gone way beyond and gotten some very large sponsorships and collabs with anime studios and alike, which are very big accomplishments, and of course it just makes people who dislike her seed even harder. But moving on, this is a very different route here. You would look at this at first glance and think this has nothing to do with VTubers, but it definitely does. So yesterday it was announced by the Federal Trade Commission that they are banning non-compete agreements in the United States. Now, what are non-compete agreements? It's basically something that is baked into contracts that say if you get fired or you quit your job with this company, you cannot work with our competitors for X amount of time. And often it will list the actual companies they are referring to. Now, this is something that is being axed in the United States. And yes, to answer your question, there are VTubers who are under these sorts of non-compete agreements because they worked with one agency and now they're being prevented, at least for a certain amount of time, from working with another agency. And that is something that has happened. It's prevented some agency VTubers from immediately moving on. They have to wait 6 months or even a year before they can start working with one of the competitors of that other agency. So this definitely frees them up and allows them to not take this unnecessary and undue delay to their employment, which seems like a very unfair thing to do once you're outside the scope of your original employment with the company you made the contract with. And yes, to answer your question, what about Niji Sanji? Well, this is something that Legal Mindset would talk about. He is a lawyer who's also seen the Niji Sanji contract, and besides the actual illegal parts as he claims, no, surprisingly, there is not a non-compete clause in that Niji Sanji contract. But overall, this is a win. Like I said, this is something that is good for VTubers. It is something that has no value for them in their own personal interest. You shouldn't have a company controlling your future employment. That's such a crazy thing to do, and it'll allow these agency VTubers to move on to other avenues and job opportunities without having this undue delay forced upon them by their former employer. Now, moving on to some other good news, we're going to talk about Off-Kai for a second. So Off-Kai Expo is considered the largest VTuber convention, and last year was a big success, and this year is lining up to be a very big success as well. And speaking of Hololive, a lot of Hololive talents will be making appearances at Off-Kai, and we have another great round of news coming out from Off-Kai. So this was announced yesterday. I'll read the message right here. It says, "We are pleased to announce that in addition to the sponsorship of Off-Kai Expo 2024's vendor hall, FaZe Connect, a VTuber agency, has generously covered the booth and table costs for all vendors in the hall. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to FaZe Connect for their support of Off-Kai Expo and our artists and vendors." Now, a lot of people have been praising FaZe Connect and how they handle themselves as a VTuber agency and how they handle their talents for a long time now. But this is really just solidifying it. This is a huge W. It's a huge PR move for them. And it's, well, frankly, good if you're going to be a VTuber agency at this expo. A lot of people, including the artists, are going to think very highly of you and want to work with you or promote your talents. But also in terms of the artists, I know this is a huge deal for the people who were trying to set up booths. It's very expensive to do at these conventions. And a lot of times artists struggle to break even because of these booth costs. So now that these booths and tables have been covered very generously by FaZe Connect, they have a real opportunity to make a lot of money, a lot of revenue, without this burden that is placed upon them for the cost of these booths and tables. So this is a huge win for artists, and I know a lot of people are very, very happy about this. So that is some good news to end this video on. We had a couple rounds of good news for a change, and that is definitely highlighted here. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.